My name's Joanna Lu. When I first met Master Ma, I wanted to take a martial arts course, and the guy who taught it taught me a few of the basic moves, and then he said he thought I should meet his master, and that's Master Ma. I was working as a television producer at WGBH-TV in Boston also. I was a studio director at the time, and I directed some of the segments for Say Brother. When I first started, I liked the external more because it was flashy, and when we performed, everyone would clap, and it would seem so exciting and kind of a way to show off who we were, and it's what everyone liked, and it helped. But the internal forms were really what was precious to your mother. And so in trying to understand what was most precious for her to pass on, it was really understanding the internal forms. One of the most important things before we came to class was to make sure we got there an hour ahead of time to make sure we warmed up properly and we had stretched properly, because Sifu would always say it's not the forms that are important, but making sure your body is conditioned. We worked really hard, we were very dedicated, we had a lot of camaraderie, and we just wanted to make sure that we represented the school as best we could. So we practiced really long hours. We learned the forms that Master Ma thought would represent the school well, and that was both internal and external forms. So we're doing Shaolin plus Tai Chi. We did splits all day. We had to practice our front splits with the left leg in front and the right leg in front, and then the side splits, front kicks. We had our side kicks. We had our jumping kicks and our spinning kicks. And yeah, it was like doing drills. Because we practiced and tried to do them in unison, if someone kicked much higher than others, we would all try and be at the same level, just so that it would seem more uniform. I used to love doing the August Moon Festival performances up on the stage on Beach Street, because we had a lot of people from the community coming and watching, old people and young people, and it felt like a really just wonderful community thing. Dragon Boat Festival. And John Hancock for first night.
Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy our performance.
After I talked to other people about it, it seemed to have a reputation of just being kind of flashy, showy things and not really
combative.
Yeah, not really combative. It seemed more like gymnastics and just all show and flair without either having the deep understanding about internal forms and Tai Chi, or having the power and the strength of the Shaolin styles or the external styles. Wushu, just to people I knew who were practicing other arts, external and internal forms, seemed to think Wushu was just all show, kind of like just gymnastics and waving weapons around.
I'd like to clarify one term for you. When we say Wushu, Wushu literally means martial arts or war arts in Chinese. A lot of times you hear the term and most people think of Kung Fu as meaning, oh, martial arts, Chinese martial arts. But Kung Fu really in Chinese means anything done excellently. So that when people say, oh, I do Kung Fu, it's grown to mean, well, I do it very, very well. But now you know, whenever you hear martial arts, you know, oh, that's Wushu. So what we do is martial arts and we call it Wushu.
I think she was researching herself on what would be effective teaching techniques. And I felt a little bit like maybe I was a subject for her to see what worked and what didn't work for her as a master, trying to move her students along. I think a lot of times she would feel just maybe disappointed, and you could see that she might be disappointed.
Why do you think that is?
I think she was very exacting, and she had very, very high standards. And I think she would just be disappointing if she felt that maybe the class or individuals couldn't rise to what she was hoping people could rise to.
Mm-hmm.
She had one criticism of me. First thing she said when I came in was that my posture wasn't good. And then she did a rather brutal imitation of the way my head stuck out. Let's see. She said that my head went like this.
Kind of like what we would call today's text neck.
Something like that. But then she would always cheat, and she would always keep correcting me whenever I was standing. Put your head up. Put your head up. Put your head up. Sometimes when we were, just stretching before classes would start, she would just walk around tidying up the studio, and I could see her in the mirror, and she would just be humming or singing opera. But we did have one performance that was a little bit more lyrical, and she chose, it might have been the overture or the theme song to Little Sisters of the Grass Plain, which I think was a 1950s award-winning Chinese opera.
How did you know this?
Why did I know it was Little Sisters of the Grass Plain? I don't know. It probably was way after my time, but there was some period where she wanted to do more dance in addition to the martial arts. And the women that were first attracted to the school just wanted to do martial arts. So she was experimenting with us doing some sort of more girly dances, like shuffling our feet and looking very coy, and none of us wanted that. So I think that might have been why she did it after the first wave of women. But I remember mentioning that I worked at the television station and that one of my colleagues wanted to do a piece on your mother, and he said, I want to be on TV. And I was thinking, okay, that's cute, you're 13 years old. Yeah, okay. Let your mom do her thing and maybe you'll be on TV later. But I didn't think that eventually he would be on TV and in the movies. I remember when your mom and dad called the school CWRI. He said it sounds like YMCA. And then, do you remember the song YMCA?
YMCA!
With the Village People? Yeah, so Donnie burst into a YMCA and did a Village People routine. Well, if I hadn't blown up my knee, probably I would have liked to keep pursuing the sword, because that was Tian. That was your mom's specialty, and it seemed like if I was going to learn anything, that's what I would want to pursue. I always felt wherever she went during our performances that everyone respected her and saw her as really a great master. Someone to emulate, someone to look up to. Master Ma was a phenomenally focused and dedicated person to her art, and she devoted her entire life to her art.